Thank you for joining me for the May 2026 Booze Compass Monthly Briefing. Executive Summary, May 2026 witnessed a beverage alcohol industry in profound transition, defined by intensifying consolidation pressures and defensive positioning amid weakening consumer demand. Distribution networks underwent historic reshaping as RNDC divested operations across multiple markets, while major family-owned spirits companies rejected blockbuster takeover bids, signaling resistance to ownership changes even as market conditions deteriorate. Ready-to-drink cocktails emerged as the industry's sole reliable growth engine, attracting investment and product launches across all major players, while traditional categories, particularly wine and spirits, continued multi-year volume declines that are fundamentally altering the competitive landscape. The month's developments reveal an industry bifurcating between premium-positioned survivors and value-oriented consolidators, with middle-market brands facing existential pressure. Global brewers reported unexpected volume stabilization and premiumization success, providing rare positive signals. Yet craft segments and independent producers continued suffering closures and bankruptcy filings at accelerating rates. Regulatory uncertainty around hemp beverages, tightening aluminum can supply, and evolving no-alcohol labeling standards added operational complexity, while major sporting events, particularly the 2026 FIFA World Cup, drove unprecedented marketing investments as companies bet on experiential moments to reverse long-term consumption declines. Category analysis, mergers, and acquisitions. May 2026 brought dramatic M&A activity centered on both transformational deals and notable rejections that will reshape industry ownership. Brown-Forman officially rejected Sazerac's $15 billion all-cash takeover offer at $32 per share, following the earlier collapse of merger discussions with Pernod Ricard, as the controlling Brown family declined to relinquish voting control despite backing from Wells Fargo and Apollo Global Management. The proposed Sazerac-Brown-Forman combination would have created a dominant force controlling approximately 30% of the U.S. whiskey market, but family governance priorities prevailed over financial considerations. Meanwhile, E&J Gallo completed its $764 million acquisition of Four Roses Bourbon from Japan's Kirin Holdings, marking a significant expansion of Gallo's spirits portfolio, with master distiller Brent Elliott remaining in place and no operational changes planned, pending antitrust approval expected in Q2 2026. Distribution consolidation reached unprecedented levels as Reyes Beverage Group finalized acquisition of 11 markets from RNDC, while Breakthrough Beverage announced purchases of RNDC territories in Kentucky and Indiana, fundamentally altering the three-tier system's power dynamics. RNDC's systematic market exits, driven by operational challenges and mass brand departures, represent the unraveling of one of the industry's largest distributors, with Southern Glazers and other competitors rapidly absorbing market share. In spirits, Sazerac acquired an equity stake in influencer-backed RTD brand Sip Margs and entered exclusive distribution arrangements, while Presidently, part of the Beget's provided planet from Juuling Level Journeys, while Presidently, Pernod Ricard USA completed acquisition of a significant majority stake in Avion ultra-premium tequila, underscoring continued investment in the premium agave segment despite broader market softness. Specialty acquisitions reflected strategic repositioning across categories. Dam UK purchased the Old Speckled Hen brand family from Green King to expand its UK beer portfolio. De Kuyper Royal Distillers acquired historic Cherry Heering liqueur, established 1818, along with Heering coffee liqueur, to enhance its cocktail-focused offerings across 100-plus countries. And M&G Brands acquired Well-Being Brewing Company, a non-alcoholic beer pioneer, strengthening its position in the $11 billion NA beverage market with plans for THC-infused product development. Wine sector activity included Torres China merging with Waju-owned Summergate, War Room Cellars acquiring 3 California brands, True Grit, Paul Donan Vineyards, Parducci, and French billionaire Olivier Goudet purchasing Wine Searcher to expand his wine industry holdings, while Perfect Puree of Napa Valley acquired Colorado-based Strongwater to enter the premium bar ingredients category. Top sources. The Four Roses sale is just the opening act. The whole bourbon industry is being reshuffled. WhiskeyCast.com. Brown Forman rejects Sazerac's $15 billion takeover approach. The drinks business. Reyes Beverage Group closes 11 market deal with RNDC. Shanken News Daily. E&J Gallo to acquire Four Roses Bourbon. WhiskeyCast.com. De Kuyper Royal Distillers acquires Cherry Hearing. ChilledMagazine.com. M&G Brands acquires NA beer expert Wellbeing Brewing Company. CraftBrewingBusiness.com. Financial developments. Financial performance across the beverage alcohol sector revealed deepening stress in traditional categories, offset by pockets of unexpected resilience. Anheuser-Busch InBev reported strong Q1 2026 results, with revenue up 5.8%, beer volume growth of 1.2%, defying industry-wide declines, and underlying EPS surging 20.8%, driven by pricing actions, mega brand strength, and robust growth in no-alcohol beer and beyond beer segments across all geographic regions. The results prompted stock rallies and management optimism about maintaining market share gains, with the upcoming World Cup cited as a critical growth catalyst. Similarly, Corby Spirit and Wine reported record Q3 fiscal 2026 results, with 21% year-over-year revenue increases, driven by RTD business expansion and market share gains in Canada, declaring a 24-cent per share quarterly dividend while benefiting from strategic order phasing tied to LCBO markup changes in Ontario. Conversely, spirits-focused companies faced continued contraction. Marie Brizard Wine and Spirits reported Q1 2026 revenue down 9.6%, with French off-trade falling 11.6%, driven by William Peel Scotch weakness, and international sales declining except for U.S. growth. Diageo's U.S. spirits sales suffered a 15.4% Q3 drop, prompting calls for more competitive positioning despite some early turnaround signs under CEO Sir Dave Lewis. And WSWA's Q1 2026 SipSource data showed ongoing wine and spirits contraction, with only March improvement and RTD momentum providing relief, as value sales declined faster than volume, reflecting depremiumization trends. United Spirits bucked the trend with Q4 FY26 net profit jumping 28% to 539 crore rupees on 3.7% revenue growth and expanding EBITDA margins, declaring an 11 rupees per share final dividend. Financial distress drove bankruptcy filings and restructurings. Spirits of the U.S. ALLC, Legends Vodka and Bourbon, filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy citing declining 2025 spirit sales. Killarney Brewing and Distilling Company entered liquidation with debts exceeding €8 million after failing to secure investment amid pandemic impacts, supply chain issues, and Irish whiskey tariffs. Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey remained under court-supervised receivership with warnings of insolvency due to millions in undocumented transfers and mounting debt. And Bauhaus Brew Labs announced closure of its Northeast Minneapolis brewery in June 2026 due to prolonged financial pressures including rising costs, declining craft beer demand, and immigration enforcement impacts. Meanwhile, Suja Life's NASDAQ IPO raised $186.7 million, lower pricing range, but shares fell 14% on debut despite 26.1% prior year sales growth, and Treasury Wine Estates took a $450 million U.S. business impairment while facing investor pressure for strategic overhaul ahead of CEO Sam Fisher's recovery plan unveiling. Market trends. Ready-to-drink cocktails solidified their position as the industry's dominant growth category, reaching the 80 million case milestone in the U.S., with spirits-based RTDs growing by over 10 million cases year over year, driven by rising purchase frequency and consumer loyalty rather than new user acquisition. High Noon led the segment at 24.1 million cases, while RTD sales in UK off-trade surpassed £700 million with double-digit growth, and US control states saw April 2026 volume increases of 34.7% compared to prior year. The category's expansion reflects fundamental consumer shifts toward convenience, at-home drinking occasions, and premium canned options with lower ABV alternatives, with major producers across all beverage alcohol segments launching RTD innovations and distribution expansions. BCG analysis highlighted RTDs as the rare growth area in a shrinking overall alcohol market, accelerated by casual drinking occasion trends and targeted branding strategies that resonate particularly with younger, legal drinking age consumers. Moderation trends and health consciousness drove explosive growth in no-alcohol and low-alcohol segments, with non-alcoholic beer sales growing 23% in 2025 and global no/low-alcohol beverage sales reaching $6 billion, though water and soda remain more popular choices than adult NA alternatives. Non-alcoholic wine emerged as impossible for the traditional wine industry to ignore as conventional wine sales declined, with younger consumers increasingly moderating alcohol intake and seeking flexible drinking experiences. The sober curious movement, combined with improved product quality, particularly in alcohol-free rosé, which capitalized on both no-low trends and quality rosé growth, to establish moderation as a mainstream behavior rather than niche abstinence. NIQ data confirmed this shift is reshaping global beverage alcohol sales patterns, with producers taking the sector seriously through innovation in mocktails, functional drinks, and cannabis-infused beverages. Traditional categories faced severe headwinds. U.S. alcohol volumes fell 5% in 2025, with beer and wine down 6%, spirits down 4%, and only RTDs showing resilience at -1% decline. The $115 billion U.S. wine market entered a fundamental reset with 6 consecutive years of decline and $1.2 billion in lost 2025 sales, though segments like Burgundy, organic wines, and sparkling showed selective growth. Beer consumption in France overtook wine for the first time in modern history, driven by craft brewing expansion, lower pricing, and structural changes in drinking culture, while climate and economic pressures accelerated global wine consumption declines across 9 of the world's top 10 wine markets. The U.S. rum category volume collapsed from 23 million cases in 2021 to 18.2 million in 2025, prompting leading brands like Bacardi, Captain Morgan, and Malibu to focus on premiumization, flavored expressions, and heritage-aged rums. Depremiumization hit U.S. spirits, with 5.7% value declines over 12 months due to pricing pressures, wholesaler depletion, and consumers trading down to affordable options amid economic uncertainty. Market analysis. The global canned RTD cocktails market demonstrated remarkable growth trajectory, valued at $2.68 billion in 2025 and projected to reach $3.1 billion in 2026, 15.4% CAGR, before expanding to $5.53 billion by 2030, driven by urbanization, busy lifestyles, expanding cocktail culture, and innovation in flavors and sustainable packaging. Alternative forecasts from Fact.mr positioned the market at $2.9 billion in 2025, growing to $13.7 billion by 2036 at 15.2% CAGR, with spirit-based RTDs holding nearly 39% share and significant growth opportunities in China and Brazil as regulatory liberalization enables canned cocktail sales expansion. The broader RTD cocktail market, including non-canned formats, was forecast at $37.7 billion in 2026, expanding to $60.3 billion by 2036 at 4.8% CAGR, with vodka-based cocktails and premium/flavored options dominating globally, reflecting the category's evolution from convenience plays to legitimate premium positioning. The overall alcoholic drinks market reached $1,895.3 billion in 2025 and is projected to hit $2,065.9 billion in 2026, with 9.0% CAGR through 2036, propelled by premiumization, ready-to-drink format adoption, and emerging Asian markets despite volume declines in mature Western markets. The U.S. spirits and liquor distilleries sector reported $19.5 billion in 2025 sales, with 4.7% annual growth over the prior 3 years, though facing headwinds from tariffs, recession risks, and shifting consumer preferences. Beer markets showed stabilization signs, with global volumes declining only 1% in 2025, particularly in US and Brazil, while value held firm due to premium segment growth and 8% volume growth in no-alcohol beer, prompting brewers to respond with geographic expansion, portfolio divestments, and innovation in flavors and functional offerings. Bordeaux 2025 vintage analysis revealed an exceptionally early harvest, producing concentrated aromatic wines with notable purity and freshness, despite being the smallest Cheval Blanc harvest since 1961 due to challenging growing conditions. The vintage's tiny yields led to powerful sweet whites from Sauternes and Barsac, while left bank reds and right bank satellites showed complexity despite seasonal adversity, with the Empruneur campaign highlighting quality over quantity. The Willamette Valley Wine Auction 2026 showcased exceptional 2024 vintage wines benefiting from ideal growing conditions with steady ripening, bright acidity, and balanced fruit development, raising over $2 million for Alzheimer's research. Cognac Masters 2026 results demonstrated the category's resilience and quality despite anti-dumping campaigns and tariffs, with multiple gold and silver medals awarded across price categories. While Brandy Masters 2026 highlighted standout performances from French, Moldovan, Colombian, and U.S. brandies, with affordable pricing signaling strong category potential. Product launches. Bourbon and American whiskey innovation accelerated with significant new releases. Wild Turkey debuted the Austin Nichols Archives collection featuring 16-year gold foil edition bourbon at 120 proof, inspired by vintage cheesy gold foil bottles. Heaven Hill's 2026 grain-to-glass lineup focused exclusively on 3 limited-release wheated bourbons, including French oak barrel finishes and a new 9-year extra-aged expression. And Maker's Mark launched Star Hill Farm's first-ever wheat whiskey, featuring a new wheat-forward mash bill, aged minimum 7 years, emphasizing regenerative agriculture and estate-grown grain. Green River released honey-finished Kentucky bourbon, adding honey directly during barrel aging, while Milam & Green unveiled live oak bourbon in its wildlife collection, supporting the Blanco County Conservation Initiative. And Bardstown Bourbon Company introduced Distillery Reserve Cascadia Garyana oak barrel finish, using custom Oregon oak barrels on 9 to 10-year bourbons. Ready-to-drink and cocktail innovation dominated launch activity. Ritual Zero Proof, Diageo owned, entered RTDs with 3 non-alcoholic canned cocktails, Margarita, G&T, and Spritz, at $13.99 per 4-pack, targeting exceptional zero-proof experiences. Mezzo Beverages launched premium nitro-carbonated 100% mezcal cocktails in 38 Southern California Whole Foods locations, and Mission Craft Cocktails released bar-strength tamarind margarita RTDs. Bruichladdich celebrated its 25th anniversary with Port Charlotte PC5 Redux, 5-year 63.5% ABV, 2,500 bottles, and Octomore OBA Redux, revisiting inaugural expressions, while rare spirits releases included Glendronach 56 years old bicentennial bottling, fully matured in sherry casks, the Anasac 25-year-old, 4 rare blends aged 20 to 40 years, and World Whiskey Society Family Reserve 17-year, finished in white port, Tokaji, and Armagnac barrels. Beer, wine, and specialty launches reflected evolving consumer preferences. Pabst Blue Ribbon partnered with Grillo's Pickles on PBR Grillo's Pickle Beer Limited Edition. Molson Coors brought back Keystone Ice after 5 years to enhance value offerings, and PFRIME launched Tropical Hazy IPA, targeting younger, more diverse craft beer audiences with fruity tropical flavors. Flaneur Wines announced 2026 spring releases featuring new Aligoté and Pinot Meunier from award-winning La Belle Promenade Vineyard, while Fairmont Mayakoba launched The Collection, exclusive wine line with winemaker Lulu Martinez and Bruma. Commemorative releases capitalized on America's 250th anniversary. Evan Williams introduced officially licensed America 250 bourbon products, supporting scholarships for service members' families. WhistlePig launched limited editions alongside a nationwide petition to recognize rye as America's official whiskey, and Buchanan's released FIFA World Cup 2026 limited edition bottles designed with kids of immigrants, featuring both classic Scotch and pineapple-flavored expressions. Industry news. Major sporting and cultural events drove significant industry activity. Diageo leadership highlighted the FIFA World Cup as critically important for reversing U.S. spirits market challenges, positioning it as an unprecedented spirits sponsorship opportunity to boost tequila and major brands through experiential marketing. Budweiser launched its Let It Pour campaign as official FIFA World Cup 2026 platform across 40-plus countries, featuring Erling Haaland and Jurgen Klopp, with fan events and integrated advertising. And Telmont Champagne secured its sixth consecutive year as official champagne of the Cannes Film Festival's 79th edition, highlighting sustainable organic production in luxury hospitality contexts. Chrome Horse Society Tequila deepened its partnership as official tequila partner of the Winter Equestrian Festival for the second year, driving premium lifestyle event visibility. Industry recognition and competitions shaped brand positioning. Alexis Ortega of Philadelphia won the 2026 U.S. Bartender of the Year title at Diageo World Class National Finals in Chicago, earning the right to compete at global finals in Scotland with heritage-inspired cocktails and storytelling. Tales of the Cocktail Foundation announced top 10 nominees for the 20th Annual Spirited Awards, spanning writing and media, books, spirits, and cocktail ingredients categories ahead of July 2026 New Orleans Conference. And the American Distilling Institute's 2026 International Spirits Competition crowned Elijah Craig Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey Barrel Proof Batch A925 as America's Greatest Whiskey 2026, alongside numerous craft producer recognitions. The Asian Spirits Masters 2026 showcased innovation with yuzu, ube, and lemongrass ingredients earning gold and silver medals. Operational developments and strategic announcements included: Anheuser-Busch invested $5.8 million to upgrade its Williamsburg, Virginia brewery. Rosedale Distilling Company opened a new bourbon distillery in Rosedale, Mississippi, investing millions to revive historic Delta buildings. And the Lakes Distillery appointed Sarah Burgess, 25-plus years experience including Diageo and Macallan leadership, as new whiskey maker to guide accelerated production and international growth. Women of the Vine and Spirits expanded its 2026 Live Leadership Series with additional sessions featuring key executives discussing industry transformation challenges, while Oishi Sake signed alignment distribution with Southern Glazers for 14 U.S. states and global travel retail expansion, including new matcha liqueur debut. Regulatory actions included Thailand banning alcohol in 8 public areas, and Tamil Nadu shutting 15% of state alcohol stores, 717 outlets, near worship places, schools, and transit hubs as public welfare measures. Cross-category insights. The beverage alcohol industry's May 2026 developments reveal a sector undergoing forced evolution, driven by simultaneous demand destruction and consolidation imperatives. The rejection of major takeover bids, despite compelling financial logic, Brown-Forman spurning both Pernod Ricard and Sazerac's $15 billion offer, demonstrates that family governance considerations now outweigh pure financial optimization, even as traditional categories suffer sustained volume declines. This dynamic creates a bifurcated M&A landscape. Distressed assets and independent craft producers face bankruptcy and forced sales, while premium family-owned businesses with strong brand portfolios can resist consolidation despite deteriorating market conditions. The RNDC distribution network unraveling simultaneously with these ownership battles creates unprecedented 3-tier system disruption, forcing brand owners to reassess go-to-market strategies just as consumer demand patterns fundamentally shift. Ready-to-drink cocktails emerge as the connective thread across M&A activity, product innovation, financial performance, and market growth, representing the industry's consensus bet on future consumption patterns. Companies posting financial gains, AB InBev's 5.8% revenue growth, Corby's 21% increase, explicitly credit RTD portfolio strength and Beyond Beer innovation, while those struggling, Marie Brizard down 9.6%, Diageo US Spirits down 15.4%, lack comparable RTD positions. This performance gap drives both acquisition activity, Sazerac's SEPM Marg Epiwi stake, Diageo US Asmonde Ritual Zero Proof's RTD launch, and product development urgency, with premium canned cocktails now attracting the innovation investment and marketing support once reserved for flagship spirits brands. The RTD category's 80 million case US milestone and projected path to $13.7 billion globally by 2036 validates this strategic focus, though market saturation risks loom as virtually every major producer floods the segment. The moderation and no-alcohol movement's acceleration from niche trend to mainstream market force creates both disruption and opportunity that established players are still learning to navigate. Non-alcoholic beer's 23% sales growth and the emergence of alcohol-free wine as commercially significant occur simultaneously with traditional wine's $1.2 billion annual sales loss and spirits depremiumization, suggesting these aren't parallel trends, but rather direct substitution dynamics among health-conscious consumers. Yet incumbents' responses remain tentative. Acquisitions like M&G's purchase of Wellbeing Brewing and product launches like Ritual Zero Proof RTDs acknowledge the category's importance, but the financial commitments pale compared to continued investment in traditional alcohol innovation. This hesitancy may prove costly, as younger, legal drinking age consumers demonstrate preference for flexible, occasion-based drinking that includes zero-proof options as normalized choices rather than compromises, fundamentally challenging the industry's volume-driven business models and requiring capabilities most established players have not yet built. Regulatory and policy. The Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau released significant regulatory guidance in May 2026, most notably clarifying federal labeling and taxation rules for low and no alcohol beverages. The TTB's 2026 NA Beer Labeling Framework defines terminology standards, formula approval requirements, and distribution regulations under the Federal Alcohol Administration Act, providing needed clarity as the non-alcoholic segment expands rapidly. Additionally, the TTB's FY 2026 congressional budget justification outlined the Bureau's budget requests, mission priorities, and planned initiatives for permitting, regulating, and taxing the alcohol industry to ensure compliance and fair market practices. These documents provide transparency into federal enforcement priorities and resource allocation affecting beverage alcohol producers. Hemp beverage regulation reached a critical juncture as the industry entered a 6-month window, potentially leading to THC product restrictions. Regulatory discussions centered on product formulation limits threaten the emerging hemp beverage category, despite ongoing retail growth, with a conference convened to address policy frameworks and industry sustainability. This uncertainty affects producers like M&G Brands, which acquired Wellbeing Brewing partly for THC-infused beverage development, and numerous craft producers exploring cannabinoid formulations as differentiation strategies. The policy vacuum creates significant business planning challenges for companies investing in this nascent category. State-level regulatory actions included Tamil Nadu's order closing 717 state-run alcohol retail outlets, approximately 15% of total, within 500 meters of worship places, educational institutions, and transit terminals as a public welfare measure under new Chief Minister C. Joseph Vijay's drug-free initiative. Thailand implemented bans on alcohol consumption in 8 designated public areas as part of broader social regulation efforts. While these international developments have limited direct U.S. impact, they reflect global regulatory tightening trends that multinational beverage companies must navigate as public health considerations increasingly influence alcohol policy across jurisdictions.